Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. I have a new tarot deck. Well, new to me. This is the Buddha Tarot, and it's something that I've been interested in since I saw it a couple of weeks ago. I haven't known about it for very long. I saw it on a Korean bookstore, and I decided to get it because I'm planning on using my Korean decks for the new lunar cycle after the Lunar New Year, which is about a week and a half away at the time of this video. So to pair with my other beautiful Korea deck, and if you haven't seen that walkthrough, I'll try to put a card up here at the top so you can look at that. I think this is a Korea produced deck. I think this was made in Korea. I haven't opened up the box. I haven't checked the information in detail, but I do believe it is Korean, which is why I wanted to get it. And because it's a Buddha-themed deck, and I'm very interested in Buddhism. So if you'd like to take a look at this, what I believe will be a gorgeous deck, stay tuned and I'll turn the camera down, yes, and we'll look at it together. See you in a bit. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with the Buddha Tarot. And I had taken this out of the plastic when I did the beginning shots because the plastic covering this box was so thick and so shiny that you couldn't see anything. So I have only taken the plastic off. I have not looked at anything inside, even the back of the box. I haven't even looked at that. So we're going to start with the box together. This says Buddha Tarot, The Great Journey of Siddhartha, a deck of 78 cards and 100p page guidebook. Okay, so the cover is in English. Now again, I believe this is a Korea produced deck, but again, this is in English. The back, we have the major cards, especially concentrated on summarizing the life of the Buddha. The characters also assigned among the surrounding people of Siddhartha who played important roles at that time. The high priestess and the hierophant were replaced by the first female monk, Daedo, and Lotus Buddha. But the other cards did not have big changes and involved the same original meanings. Now, this is pretty good English. Not saying that Koreans do not know how to speak English, but a lot of times when a foreign language is translated to English in products, the English is not so smooth, shall we say. But this is very nicely done. This is produced by Prime Muse, okay? Now, maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe this is not a Korea-produced deck. I love the cover of this box here. This is a beautiful picture. You see the grapes there. You can see pretty clearly, can you not? I believe so. Okay, so this is in what I believe we call a clamshell box. It's got a magnetic closure here on this side. It opens up. You see the Buddhist wheel here. It opens up. Now, there's a lot of extra space inside of the box, which is pretty interesting. Now, this is I believe, Tibetan wand, which is interesting. And we have a guidebook, which is supposed to be 120 pages. I will set this to the side and look at the backs of these the back of these cards. The back of the cards is gorgeous. I love this color palette. The pinks, the teal, the greenish color, all lovely. The gold. So I will take this out of the box so you can see the inside of the box is also beautifully, beautifully decorated. Very nicely done. Lotus flowers in pink and gold, or pink and yellow. on a navy background. Very nice, securely attached ribbon inside. Beautifully done. So this is the box. And let's take a peek at the guidebook. The guidebook is supposed to be 120 pages, and it starts off front cover page. Looks like Siddhartha cutting off his hair. White horse in the background. And we start right off with, yes, this is why I believe this is a Korean company. Yeah, it's made in 황금시대, produced in 2016. Yes, this is a Korean deck. The author is Go Kyung-ah, and the director is Go Soo-hyun. So yes, this is a Korea-produced deck. But the book is in English and Korean. We have some Korean here at the beginning, and then the next page is translation into English. So this would be a very good deck, I believe, for people who are interested in Korean decks, but still want to have English translations of the material. So the Buddha Tarot card, The Great Journey of Siddhartha. I'll read part of this right now. Let me start this again. Though the life story of Buddha who brought great Buddhism to this country is already widely known all over the world, we made the decision to produce this Buddha Tarot card after contemplating the way of applying his story more to the lives of people. So yes, this is translated from Korean. At first, we were going to make an oracle card, but the more we looked into painting of the 8 great events of the Buddha, there was an aspect that corresponds well to make a Rider-Waite tarot card. Therefore, we decided to make a daring try. The major cards, especially concentrated on summarizing the life story of the Buddha, the characters also assigned among the surrounding people of the Siddhartha who played important roles. We already read that. So we've got the major arcana, we got a minor arcana cards. They keep the suits, the cups, the wands, swords, and pentacles, I believe. And then we go into the contents, which are first in English, and we get the major arcana and the minor arcana. Let's see how much information we get for each. That's interesting. So, I didn't notice this at first. This says 한국어, Korean, and then the rest of it is in English. And then we go over to English, and the rest of it is in English. So the tables of contents for both Korean and English are both in English. And the book goes into the major arcana, 21, and the first half of the book is all in Korean. So there are not many images inside of the book, I suppose, to save space because we've got 2 languages going here. The major arcana. So we don't have images for the cards, but we have a pretty 1-page description of each of the major arcana cards. We've got among the Buddha's disciples. Okay, so for the fool, let me show you what it tells us. Among the Buddha's disciples, there was his cousin named Devadatta. He was originally intelligent, but highly conceited. He did not make any progress in cultivating himself morally or religiously, but he was blinded by jealousy when he saw the world respected the Buddha. He began to disturb the Buddha with various evil behaviors. At last, he tried to hurt Buddha after applying poison to his nail. Okay, I assume they mean a fingernail. However, he made a mistake by hurting himself and died due to the poison. The card pictured shows Devadatta conspiring against Buddha while he was preaching Buddhist teachings in front of the crowd. The paper's a little bit glossy, and I'm having to shift myself a little bit to read this in this lighting. The fool symbolizes a stupid man. The foolishness may not be natural stupidity, but a story of our lives that commit mistakes because of the haughtiness. Okay, so here we see that awkwardness of translation is showing up inside, but it's easy to understand, I believe. Davidata also had a lot of strengths, but everything became useless before his conceit and secular desires for power. So that's what the kind of description we get. Also, keywords, which are not really keywords, but more of a description. Watch out for the fool. You should not be swayed by your inner desires. You will face a situation that is hard to judge right away. Danger is around the corner and lurks in close relationship. So, this deck has a very negative idea about the fool, which, when we look at the cards, we might decide that, okay, that's their idea. I don't have to read the card that way. But so we got the major arcana page for each of them, and then we get into the minor arcana in just a bit. Here we go. And so, yes, not as much information about the minor arcana, which is usual, right? We got a small blurb for each of the cards in the suit. Most sacred place, but it's got a good brief description of the image on the card. So it doesn't give us keywords, but it gives good image descriptions, which will be helpful since this is a little bit, it's Rider-Waite-Smith based, but we'll have to see how closely it holds to the Rider-Waite-Smith framing of the symbols. Looks like the symbols are going to be very different. So then we've got the ace, the wands, the swords, pentacles, and that is all. So we don't get keywords or meanings so much. Let's see. The Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles possesses everything but cannot prevent her beauty and youth from withering. Wow. They've got a pretty negative view of a lot of these cards, it seems like. So we have a description. The Queen of Pentacles' face does not look very bright, even though she is holding on a gold coin with one hand. The enormous wealth in the background also shows the Queen's richness. However, there is nothing she can do about the flowers in hand withering away. The Queen of Pentacles possesses everything but cannot prevent her beauty and youth from withering. Okay, so we've got descriptions, and that will help, I believe, to understanding what we're seeing in the deck. Let's move over to the deck. Okay, so this is going to take a little bit of... Okay, did not know there was plastic inside. Should have known there was plastic inside. Almost all decks have plastic wrapping inside, do they not? So again, here we are with the backs of the deck, and it's glossy. It's a glossy deck. It's very, very slippy. It's very, very slippery. As far as size, here is a standard Rider-Waite-Smith card, and it is a little bit thicker and a little bit shorter than a Rider-Waite-Smith, than a US Games standard tarot card. But it's not so thick that it will be difficult to handle. And the shortness will help for some of us who have smaller hands and like smaller decks. I mean, this isn't a mini deck by any means, but still smaller. The backs are gorgeous, have to say that. And let's see, let me peek at this card. Okay, so here we go. I think this is where we will begin with a title, an information card, Buddha Tarot, The Great Journey of Siddhartha. And, oh, I didn't mention that this is a gilded deck. Yes? And it doesn't feel like this gilding is going to last very long. It's probably going to chip fairly easily, just so you know. And like I said, this deck is very slippy. And here we go with the Fool. Okay, so we don't get the dog, but we do get the person up at the top of a mountain, looking down, about to take a leap. Now, apparently, according to the creator of this deck, this is a stupid leap, and he's about to do something which will probably lead to his own death. But we don't have to read it that way, although that facial expression looks a little bit sinister to me. Okay, here we have the Magician. Okay, so what do we have? We have a cup, we've got a wand, we've got a coin in the hand, we've got a sword on the floor, we've got a kind of gesture of above and below. I mean, we can read those symbols in this card if we want, although there is no table. Yeah, a dancing kind of image. And here we have the High Priestess. Instead of the High Priestess, we have the first female disciple of the Buddha. Beautiful card. Love her clothes. Love the art in this card. Now, the border is a little bit on the thick side, but it gives us that added, I don't know, it gives me a bit of a Buddhist feel because of the wheel at the top and the kind of border that it is. Here we have the Empress. You can see it has the name of the Empress right here at the top. We've got the 3 in very small numerals right here. We have, I suppose, Siddhartha riding on an elephant, coming back perhaps to his mother, maybe. Love the flowers. We've got that creativity going on here. She's definitely not pregnant here, so we don't have to think, we're not necessarily trapped to that Empress pregnancy, right? So, and my phone is being strange. I'm sorry for that sound. Here we have the Emperor. And yes, we got the guy, we got the color red, right? Sitting on a throne, looking very stately. We don't have the orb, the scepter, and the orb, but that's a very Western tradition for power symbols, right? We've got a power symbol of this Eastern style. We call it culture, don't we? Yes, Eastern culture. Okay, so here we have the Hierophant, which I believe is... Who is the Hierophant? The Hierophant was changed, and let me just peek at this for just a moment. For the Hierophant. Okay, so Strength, the Hermit, the Chariot, the Hierophant. Let's go to English. The Hierophant. Buddhism has a Buddha of the past, present, and future. And this lotus Buddha is a Buddha of the past. Okay, so this is a past Buddha. Siddhartha was a young man named Sumedha in a former life. One day, when Lotus Buddha passed the way, passed his way, I think is what he means, Sumedha, formerly Siddhartha, offered lotus flowers and loosened his hair so that Lotus Buddha did not step on the mud. Okay, so this Lotus Buddha is being protected from the mud by stepping on the hair of Siddhartha on the mud. After this, Lotus Buddha made a prophecy that Sumedha would become a Buddha in the future. Although the Hierophant is a card which is full of other religious interpretations, he was described as a Lotus Buddha in that he has a symbolic meaning of preserving old faith. So, yeah, past Buddha, preserving old faith. That makes sense. It is said that the lotus flowers offered by Sumedha didn't fall to the ground and floated in the air. There we go. They floated in the air. This happening means Sumedha was not an extraordinary person and would become a Buddha who achieved a great awakening. Was not an extraordinary person. Okay, that's going to take some mental work on my part. Not really sure. I'll have to compare with the Korean. If they actually meant he was not an extraordinary person, I'll need to read that. But yeah, so here we have past Buddha. Going on to the lovers. Okay, so definitely a love-looking card, right? But he probably has to make a choice whether to be with this woman or to go in another direction. Notice the grapes here at the top and the peacock in the back. And the chariot. Okay, so interesting. Only one horse pulling the chariot. And we have the strength card. Okay, so the strength card. It looks like Siddhartha is stripping himself of clothing. Maybe this is his father saying, no, don't. And the strength to move forward. Now, leaving behind their wealth. Probably that's what's going on here. Here we have the hermit. And in the hermit card we have, I believe, this could be the birth of Siddhartha. Maybe. And perhaps being blessed by another holy man. Perhaps. And here we have the wheel of fortune, and we have the wheel, the Buddhist wheel. Makes sense to me. Yeah, it's a wheel that keeps moving, turning in cycles and cycles, the cycle of birth and death and rebirth. Buddha teaching. I don't know the sutra, but teaching a sutra. Here we have justice, and in the justice card we have the hair cutting scene. Interesting. And the hanged man is not so much a hanged man, but a walking away man. Or walking by man. So that would take reading the book for me to understand why. But you can see the title. It says hanged man. It says number 12. We can see which card it is. And here we have death, which I believe is the transition of the Buddha into nirvana. And here we have temperance. Interesting. Yeah, is he going to accept the offering or not? Now, one of the things about the Siddhartha on his journey was that he chose the middle path, not too extreme meditation and not too light. He chose the middle path, and the middle path is the key, I believe, for Buddhism. So, which this makes temperance kind of a middle path card to me. The devil. So, the devil, the temptation of the Buddha under the Bodhi tree is probably what's happening here. Interesting. So these would be the three temptress demons. And here we have the tower. Maybe one of the last temptations of the Buddha as the Buddha is being enlightened. And the star, probably the moment of enlightenment or the moment of the first teaching, the giving of hope. That's what I see here. And the moon, maybe people misunderstanding the teaching. I don't know. Have to look at the book. But yeah, you see these people crawling around on the ground and suffering. I think that's what perhaps the main idea of this card is. Here we have the sun. We have the baby Siddhartha walking on lotus blossoms through the forest. And we have judgment, which I would have thought as kind of a reincarnation card, perhaps, but it looks like this person is among demons and being perhaps blessed by the Buddha. Okay. And here we have the world. Probably maybe nirvana, maybe attainment of enlightenment and universal consciousness. That's where I'm going to go with this. Universal consciousness. Attainment of universal consciousness. And then we go into the minor arcana. Let's see how close it is to Pixie's art. No hand, well, it's pretty different from a Rider-Waite-Smith cup, isn't it? Isn't it? Here we have the Two of Cups, which is often the lover's card, and we've got a male and female figure. We've got a statue here in the background. And then we have the Three of Cups, which is usually three different people, but we have one person with three very similar cups, which is a little bit too bad, because I would usually like to see different things coming together. Now, each sharing or offering their own special qualities and special abilities and uniqueness. Here we have the Four of Cups, which we get that kind of disappointment feeling here. Now we got the fourth cup down here, the three up above, kind of in reverse order. We've got looks like there's been a party here. Cups look pretty empty to me. Now we don't get the idea of something being offered here, do we? It looks like after the party is over. And here's the Five of Cups where the person has just gone off and left. Yeah? Not even looking at the spilled cups on the ground. They're gone. And here we have the Six of Cups. Okay, we've got the kind of a nostalgic thing, offering one cup to a younger child. And this person here looks fairly young to me. So we got that kind of nostalgia feeling here. And the Seven of Cups. So we don't see the person looking at them, but there are different things in each of the cups. We've got incense, we've got apples, we've got flowers, more flowers, grapes. Not sure what these two things are. I would think one would be rice, but it doesn't look like rice to me. Okay, here we have the Eight of Cups. Okay, we got the person walking away here. Interesting that these cups are in a bag, huh? One is toppled over. We don't see a bridge crossing over in this deck as we would see in a Rider-Waite-Smith card, where the figure is walking off and you see a bridge crossing over the water, going to a castle. It's just walking away. I assume this would probably be the Ganges. Here we go with the Nine of Cups, the satisfaction card. So we don't get the fat old guy, and this does not look like Siddhartha to me. Be interesting to see who this is. Let's see. Has it been the same guy in all of these? Not really. No. I mean, it could be. These two could be the same. Now, I mean, if we're thinking of a journey, gone from here to here, back maybe home, walking away now, you can see a hint of a beard here. It could be the same person getting older, I suppose. Let's look at the 10. Okay, all gone. 10 of cards. Family vibes, maybe, perhaps. We don't see a rainbow. But we do see, okay, this could be a father, mother, child, if we want to gender them. There's a citadel out there in the back, in the distance. Okay, Page of Cups. Get total Page of Cups vibe here. Interesting, we've got a bird here. A swan, I believe. We don't get a fish jumping out. It looks like, maybe that is rice. It's very yellow looking rice to me. Here we go with the Knight of Cups. Not riding a horse, but a little bit older. I get a kind of romantic vibe from that knight. Here we have the Queen of Cups. I love the flowers in her hands. And then the King of Cups, an older guy. But it looks like all getting older, yeah? The page was very young, the knight is a little bit older, the queen is a little bit older, and the king is the oldest. So I think it's not just that the king and the queen are old guy, young guy, but that each of them is growing in age as they progress through the ranks of the court. Here we go with the Ace of Wands. Lovely, absolutely lovely. Simple, right? No hand offering that. It's just there. Here we go with the Two of Wands. We get this idea of a Rider-Waite-Smith, yeah, looking at the future, contemplating a course to go in, holding two different rods. He's holding them in the air this time instead of leaning on them, but we got the two rods there. 3. Don't get that, well, maybe. He's picking one up and moving. I guess we get that idea of that initial beginning of action here. I can see that. And 4 of Wands. We've got the total canopy going here. And a couple could be a wedding. You could read wedding celebration into this, or just general celebration into this, I believe. 5 of Wands. We got the competition going. Cool. 6 of Wands. Now, did you notice that the wands, the people in the wands are dressed in blue, right? The people in the cups had green borders to their clothes, well, except for him. Okay, no. Okay, no. Green and gold? There's green here. Green and gold. Let's see if the blue holds for the wands to the end. Here's some more blue in the 7 of Wands, which is usually a bit of defensiveness. And I guess you could see that. I mean, this person built a wall, which I would usually think of as 9 of Wands, but let's see what happens. This person is building the wall, in the middle of building a wall, a fence, a gate. The 8 of Wands, which is usually motion, right? I do not see motion in this card. But the action is completed. Let me check to see what it says here in the 8 of Wands, because I'm really curious now. What does the creator of this deck see out of the 8 of Wands? The site is deserted. Maybe the workers are exhausted and went to take a rest, but they have to come back soon. It's not finished. Finally, constructing the foundation of the building is completed. So, the 7 of Wands was not a fence, but construction of a building. This is the beginning to get to here. Judging from a wand that has been abandoned, the more painful task seems to be waiting for them. Okay, so the meaning of this card, according to the creator, is a little bit different than the Rider-Waite-Smith image indicates. Here we have the 9. Okay, so built even more of this structure. So we got progression, I guess, of these wands cards. Be interesting. I think this deck will need to be read. I don't know. Is it going off of a Marseille? Here's the 10. No, the 10 definitely looks Rider-Waite. So, okay, let me tell you. If you're not completely comfortable with one system, for example, the Rider-Waite-Smith system, and you don't have those meanings already ingrained in your mind, this might be a difficult deck to use. However, I do like the art. Yeah, I like the images. This guy does look. I do get that he's been beaten up a little bit. He's been knocked around by his tasks. But he's still there. He's not completely on the ground, right? It's interesting that these trees are blossoming a little bit, yeah? There are leaves sprouting out, which we did not... No, there are leaves here too. All of the wands have leaves. Never mind. Moving on to the 10 again, we definitely get the Rider-Waite-Smith image of the burden of the 10. And here we go with the Page of Wands. I don't know. He looks a little bit worried there, having to chase the chicken, doesn't he? Or she. Well, don't they? Page. Young person. Blue. Older. teenager perhaps, a little bit more fixed stance. And here we have the Queen of Wands, a little bit older, a young woman. Or maybe even, it could be even in her 30s or so. And then we have the next step of age of an older man. Not as old as the King of Cups, right? King of Cups guy, King had a lot of white hair, right? Which is in keeping with a lot of systems, yeah? The cups and the pentacles kings tend to be older, and the wands and swords kings tend to be a little bit younger. But this guy's got a little bit of a punch on him. Okay, here we go with the Ace of Swords. No hand offering it. The sword is resting in a cradle. We've got an elephant with I forget what that's called on the top, but one of those things where people ride on the elephant. Here is the Two of Swords. We get the image, the bound, the blindfolded eyes, the swords being balanced. We got cutest little bunnies down here at the bottom, and a monkey in the tree, wondering what the heck is that guy doing? Here we have the Three of Swords. Instead of a heart, they're going into a pillow, a cushion. But definitely stabby, yes? And here we have the Four of Swords, sort of like the Rider-Waite-Smith, where there would be a knight on top of a tomb, although this doesn't necessarily look like a tomb. It could be a stone bed, I suppose. It could be respite. Instead of there being three swords on top and one on the bottom, all four are at the top, crossed over. But you get respite, you get repose. You could be healing and recovering here in this card as well. Here we have the Five of Swords, and we get that idea of one person collecting all the swords and the other person walking off in supposed defeat. The Six of Swords, okay. The swords are really holding to the tradition of Rider-Waite-Smith. We've got the swords in the boat going off. Now we've got blue here for, oh no. Okay, so we've got red sometimes and blue sometimes. So that idea of there being color-coded clothes for the suits, I think was just my fascination and my own little dream going on. Six of Swords. Here we have the Seven of Swords, yeah? One person trying to run away with five swords and two being left behind, just like Pixie's art. Of course, not in the cultural style of Pixies. The swords are more East Asian, Southeast Asian, and so is the architecture. Here we go with the Eight of Swords. We have the bound person surrounded by swords, eyes blindfolded. They could easily get out of there if they want to. Very easy to read. The Nine of Swords. Definitely looks like it could be a nightmare card. Yeah? Person in bed. A little bit of a face palm going on there. Swords up here on the wall. We don't get zodiac signs, but that's a very westernized image, right? This is more Eastern. Southeast Asian. And here we go with the 10, with the body on the ground and the sword sticking in. Definitely Rider-Waite-Smith. So the swords are very, very Rider-Waite-Smith. The wands, not so much. Here we go with the Page of Swords. Now this page looks a little bit older, doesn't he? Let's see how this person relates to the knight. Okay, you could say that the knight's a little bit older, I suppose. This knight is actually on a horse. The Queen of Swords. Not getting as clear an age progression in the sword suit. And then the King of Swords. Yeah. I mean, they could, I suppose, be about the same age, if you wanted to think that. Love this background, yeah? Love the tapestries. I love the design of these cards. They don't look Korean by any means. They look like they could be pseudo Southeast Asian or South Asian. And this looks like rice to me, I suppose. So the rice in this deck, we have both white and yellow brownish rice. And here we have the Two of Pentacles, balanced. Sure, we can get that idea, even though this guy is seated in front of their rice. We got the scales here, which might help that idea of balancing things. Here we have the Three of Pentacles. I'm sorry, Wands? Three of Pentacles. This looks like trade to me rather than working on something. What do you think? Does that look like trade to you? I'm wondering who this person belongs with. Is this person holding this person's coin and this person's buying this stuff from this person and these two are together? Or is this person holding this person's coin and this person is just offering one of their three coins? It's interesting. Here we have the Four. Okay, we got the two on the ground, the one in the lap, and one being held. Instead of one being over the head, it's on the lap. But we got the basic idea of stable resources, I believe. And you could think of greed if you want to. Here we have the Five of Pentacles. Yep, okay, so we've got the poor person in tattered robes walking by. There are 5 coins up there in the background. There's food right there available, but this person is very unhappy and walking by. Looks unhappy to me. And here we have the Six of Pentacles, yeah, offering stuff. Definitely a wealthier person offering stuff to a less wealthy person. Seven of Pentacles, which we usually think of, now this totally looks Eight of Pentacles to me. Now here's something different, right? Seven of Pentacles is usually waiting for something to happen, watching the development, watching progress, evaluating progress. This looks like they're in the middle of doing their work. So let's look at the 8. And this one looks like they're finished with their work, which is an interesting change. So the Pentacles up to this point looked really, really consistent with Rider-Waite-Smith, and here they go their own way a little bit. I mean, this really looks 8 of Pentacles to me, and this looks, I don't know, this looks like neither 9 nor 10. Completion of work. And here we have the Nine of Pentacles, which is usually the satisfaction card. And I get that from this one. And instead of a bird, we got a monkey on the shoulder. It's an interior scene instead of an exterior, but we get the exterior seen through the windows. And here we have the Ten of Pentacles, usually legacy. And you can get that. I love how these coins are here in the flowers. They're budding money. The flowers are blossoming money for this couple in their home. Totally get that. And here we go with the Page of Pentacles. Very young pentacle. Very young page with the coin. Going on to the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, no horse this time, but an older, maybe early 20s, late teenage person. Notice the wand in the hand here. Here we have the Queen of Pentacles, perhaps a little bit older than the Knight, in their storehouse. And then the King of Pentacles. Now, okay, so this king is perhaps a little bit older than the queen, maybe about the same age. I wonder why the King of Cups was so much older than the rest of them. Perhaps because of the people they selected to represent these images. I mean, they're drawing these people out of the stories of Siddhartha and the Buddha, right? So it could be because of that. So friends, what do you think? Is this interesting for you? Is this a deck you would like to use? Let me know in the comments below. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to try shuffling these for you so you see how they work, and I'll draw a card for the collective. And remember, this is a very slippy deck, so let's see how well they fly out of my hand. Okay, wow, okay. I am being careful, I will admit that, but I've had decks that have flown out of my hand much more readily than this deck does. Let me try that once more. Now, this is how I cut and do my overhand. I cut into 3. Okay, so yes, they do slip around quite a bit. And then I do my overhand. Let me try being just a little bit less careful. Okay, they're working pretty well. They're working pretty well. Now let me try doing a riffle shuffle with these cards. They're not very thick, but they feel a little bit stiff. So let me see. Let me show you. Okay. That riffle shuffled and bridged fairly easily. The cards are not very thick. Actually, they're thin but flexible. Yeah, compared to a normal Rider-Waite, normal U.S. Games card, it's probably maybe a smidge thicker cardstock, maybe just a smidge, about the same. But it felt like it would be less flexible when in this position. It feels like it's going to be less flexible, but with a little bit of strength, I'm able to riffle and bridge this deck very easily. So let's see. Question: what would it benefit us to give attention to today? What would it benefit all of us sharing space here together today to give attention to? Let me do one more overhand. What would it benefit all of us here to give attention to today? I love the backs. I really, really love the backs. Cut the deck. Okay, that's where they start flying out of my hand. And what do we get? We get the 10 of Swords. Okay, so friends, if you feel weighed down by negative thoughts, if you feel like you're at the end of your rope, if you feel like you've been completely knocked down because of the mental activity that has been disturbing you, we're at the end. Yeah, we're at the end, and it's going to get better. It will get better. So just allow ourselves to heal from whatever wounds we feel we have been experiencing recently, and allow ourselves to get back up and to retain hope for tomorrow. Now, this is the end. It's not going to get worse. It will only get better from here on. So friends, keeping that in mind, as always, I would love to hear your comments. What do you think about this deck? Is it something you're interested in getting? I'll try to remember to put a link below if you want to purchase this deck, but you may need to have help. And if you want help purchasing this deck, let me know. Contact me on Facebook, through the messenger there, or maybe through email. And we can work something out. I can help you purchase this deck if you need the help. So, friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.